All right. I think I'm getting live. Let's just check it out. Should be able to see messages. I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to let these folks in. Boom. All right. Should be live. Should be live. Let me know you can hear me. It's one of those hectic mornings. Good deal. So wasn't my normal start, but hey, it's all right. I have workers that came here. We had a flood at the house, so I have workers here, and I had to let them in and everything. But I'm letting. It looks like we got more and more people coming into the Zoom room. I love it. I see the people on Instagram. So good to have you here. And I'm live on. I should be live on Facebook and also on YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter. I think so. I think I'm live everywhere. Who knows? And oh wow, looks like we've got more people coming in. And so good to have you all here. Instagram, so good to have you here, and everyone. You can comment and let me know that you can hear me on some of the other platforms. That would be great. I see Jason. So good to be here. So here's the deal. I haven't done one of these in a couple weeks, primarily because I've been running like crazy around my my book, Building Your Money Machine, which is right here. That's the hardcover copy, y'all. It's coming out next week, so it's 1 week away. Holy moly! I don't know where the time went. So, those of you that can see this, I just got to show it off because I got a doggy cam now too, so you can see my dog. That's the little one. That's the 4-month-old. The other one's over there. So it'll probably get loud. What's going on with Berkshire today? There was a technical glitch. So here's the interesting thing. Berkshire Hathaway, one of the most expensive stocks on the stock market, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, lost like 97% of its value, like that. All because of a technical glitch. It was so they halted trading on the stock with it, and so what they did is they halted trading on the stock because there was a technical issue, not because it lost its value, and they needed to stop it from trading and doing it. And if anyone got traded in or out during that time, I think they'll end up unraveling it because it was not a legit trade. So that's why Jason's asking what's going on with Berkshire Hathaway today. Berkshire Hathaway, the stock got halted because the stock price dropped so fast and so much, and it dropped because of a technical glitch, not because of a loss in value. So they'll get it straightened out. It's an interesting thing to realize that the stock market has safety mechanisms built into it, where if there is a tremendous, if there's a too fast of a too fast of a drop or a change, there's certain times where they'll absolutely stop trading, where you cannot buy or sell the stock, and it's to protect the investor in some senses. Now they did it once where I don't think it was to protect the investor. Don't get me on that soapbox, but it was primarily done because of to preserve the the Robin Hoods of the world when the whole meme stock and the what they call the short squeeze really kind of hit. So that, I get it. but so that's what's going on with Berkshire. I think that I can't imagine that it's gonna. I don't have it up on my screen right now. I'm looking at my screens, but I can't imagine that it's going to be halted for very long. So, but these things happen. But you know when they do happen, it freaks you out. It'll get your heart to skip a beat at times. Hey, David from Florida, so good to have you. Living with, I think you're on my YouTube channel. So good. Yeah, YouTube's been going crazy for me right now. But so here's the deal. I do these things, and I try to do these things as regularly as I possibly can. Sometimes I need to take a break. I don't know that I'm doing one next week, primarily because that's the week of my book publish, and I've got a lot of stuff going on. If you have not, or if you don't know that I got a book coming out, where have you been? So my book's coming out next week on Tuesday. It releases, but you could order it today. Pre-order it today. You can get access to the bonuses. You can get access to the things. Here's the deal. I think that all of us have the ability to be financially free, no matter what your age, stage, or circumstances are. Now, that means that the steepness of the hill might be different for every single one of us. The size of the boulder may be different for every one of us. However, the reality is that in when it comes down to some of these things, that you start to look at it through the ability to be on a journey more than anything else, because too often we're not on a journey because we don't think we can get there. But the journey to financial freedom is just that. It's a journey. And here's the deal. It never ends. It's a lifelong journey that we get to be on for the rest of our lives. And then we pass that journey on to our heirs. That's the purpose of it. But what we've found is that, I don't know, maybe you've grown up in this environment also, where they say it's impolite to talk about money, don't talk about money, and this and that. Well, if we're not going to talk about money, and statistics show that almost three-quarters of the population is stressed about money, then how do we solve the stress? By not talking about it. So my decision to write the book was about having the conversation, open up the conversation about money, but to do it in a way that is simplified. Yes, I'm a CPA. Yes, I've been in the financial space for a while. I've built wealth. I've lost wealth. I've rebuilt wealth. I've done that for my clients, for myself. Well, I haven't lost the wealth for my clients. They do it on their own if they lose it. But but the point is that I didn't want to write some sort of technical book because it wouldn't help you. So it's driven by stories, driven by frameworks. It's driven by some things that make it simple for you to get access to them, to make it happen. And so for those of you that are on Instagram, if you want to get access to the book or look at the details for the book to pre-order, just put machine in below, and it'll give you all the details and everything. If you're not, then you need to go to yourmoneymachinebook.com to get that. But there's going to be plenty more stuff going on with it. But the idea here is this. If you aren't talking about money in your household, if you aren't talking about money in a positive way, all right, y'all, listen, money is they say it. I don't know if this statistic is correct, but I know it's in the top 10. But I heard that it's the second leading cause of divorce. Now, it's not money that's really I don't think is the second leading cause of divorce. It's the communication about money that is the problem, because we don't understand how to talk to our significant other, our partners, about money. When we do that, how many of you all heard about the whole idea of money dates? Oh, you got to have money dates. And and all that. Here's the problem with money dates. The way most people do it is you go and you sit across from your significant other. Now, first things first, I don't think you should be sitting across from each other. That's opposition. I think you should be sitting side by side, because really what the money is about is to be able to live a life. It's to be able to create a life together. And you create the life together from the vision you have for that life. But the tendency is when we get together to talk about money is to do it at what I call the tactic level. For those of you that are on YouTube and Facebook and Zoom, you'll be able to see this. But when I say that is that when we start to, sorry about that. I think the workers are here, but let me just close this door and you guys stick with me. All right. We keep on going. That's what happens when you have two doggies that sound terror, like terrors, but they bark with a smile, so they don't scare anyone away, and everything. So here's what happens. What we should be doing, and the way I teach it, is that you need to start with your strategy, with your vision first. Okay? What is your life vision? What do you guys want as a couple? Or even as an individual? Have the conversation around the vision, the dream, the aspiration, what you want. Make it visceral, make it emotional, make it compelling, make it something that you truly want to do. Okay? And really start to drive it from that from that perspective, because the vision will actually allow you to determine the plan, because you can create a plan now. Without the vision, call the plan a map, okay? But we got to know where we're going to figure out what the map is that we need. That map or the plan will then decide the strategy. That strategy is going to tell us what the tactics are. And the tactics will tell us what actions to take. Here's where we get in trouble when we start talking about money with our significant others, or in any situation like this, is we tend to have the conversation here at the tactics or the actions level. We start to talk to them and say, hey, why did you spend so much money at the golf club? Or why did you spend so much money at the salon? And what is that? How is that empowering? That's judgment. That's criticism. That's polarizing. No one's ever going to feel good that way. Who wants to go on a money date for judgment? You want to go and have fun. So the way to do it, the way to have money conversations that are meaningful, and now there's an appendix in my book that I put in here because I think it's so important to be on, not necessarily on the same line, but on the same page with the person you're sharing life with, that I put an appendix in here of conversation starters for couples. I also put another one in here for conversation starters for our youth, for your kids, to have the conversations and do it that way, okay? But the challenge is if we talk at the tactic or action level, we're coming from a place of judgment of the behaviors and all that stuff. Whereas what we need to do is start every conversation back at the dream, back at the vision. Where am I going? What's the plan? What's the map? Are we on track for the map? Because the vision and the plan will inform each of our roles in it. And if we're not fulfilling our roles, then we have a different conversation at that point. But it's always attached to the plan and the vision. Okay? Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk to the youth a lot because I think that we can empower our youth in a way that they don't have to struggle financially. but we got to equip them. We got to educate them. We got to have open conversation. And I think we should be talking to our youth in their young years. I started with my son at 10 years old. Okay. I got 2 grandkids. One's 3, one's 1. A little young, but I'll get to them. So, but that's kind of where I think we need to have these conversations. And the book, why I wrote the book, is to help with those conversations, to give you a recipe, to give you a process. Here's the thing. People think that money is complicated. Money is challenging. It's not. It really isn't. It feels complicated if it's something we're not used to, or we haven't done well, or we haven't done before. But hey, at one point, tying our shoes was complicated. We did all right there. At one point, walking was complicated. It is a skill, and all skills are learnable. Now, it doesn't mean you don't stumble and fall. Trust me, I've stumbled and I fell plenty of times. I've lost a lot of money. I've made some bad decisions. I didn't come from money. My dad came here at 17. He went to school. He was an engineer, so he was a white collar worker, but nothing. He wasn't a CEO or anything like that. Wasn't an entrepreneur. So I think that that we have the opportunity to develop the skills. We just need to follow a process, follow the recipe, and be able to do that in a way that makes sense. I break it down in some processes, and everything that I teach isn't theory, but rather from the road traveled. A lot of it can be from the mistakes that I've made, because I made so many, and I've survived, and I've thrived. And I figured, heck, if I lost money and spent money making these mistakes, there's no reason that y'all should be making the same mistakes and having to pay for that education. I paid for it once. Let me just give it to you. And so that's the key. So with that, I'm gonna open it up. It wasn't really the way I was going to start, but then again, I didn't expect workers to have to be here. So yeah. I'll open it up for questions. I'm here to help and answer. If you've got questions, let's type them in. Rich W, I see you're on YouTube, my friend. Machine won't work on YouTube. What I want you to do is go to yourmoneymachine.com. If you go to any of my YouTube, here, I'll put it in. yourmoneymachinebook.com. And that'll make it happen. That machine prompt only works on Facebook and Instagram right now. So I'm here. Why do I do this? I do this to answer your questions. I do this so you have a safe place to have a conversation. I don't sell investments. I don't sell insurance. I don't have some syndication that I want to talk you into, or some business opportunity that I have for you, or anything like that. There's one thing I do have for you, and that's your dreams. I think that we should be going aggressively, assertively after our dreams. That's kind of the way I see this. And when we don't, we're not living fully into what we were here to do. Is just that's my thinking behind it. And so that's what I'm here to do. I came effectively out of retirement. I went into kind of a retirement because of medical, because of cancer. But I just felt compelled to come out of retirement and serve. And this was the message. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not because I have no desire to build a book of business. I don't want a bunch of clients. I don't want any of that. I just want you all fully. I want you to live your dreams. And if I can support in that journey, if I can help, then let's do it and make it happen. So that's why I do it. And so the question is, if anyone's got any money questions, investing questions, business questions, let me know. We'll make sure that I get them answered. I have a number of people on YouTube. I mean, on in the Zoom room. So those of you that are in the Zoom room, I can unmute you. You can come on live, and those on Instagram, I see Erin King. Just met her this weekend. She's actually a neighbor, amazing speaker. So good to have you here. And we'll start answering some questions and see what I can do to support you. You're not alone on this journey. That's the thing. So, says Hind and okay, I'm gonna mispronounce this. Hind Ayuni says, I'm a new entrepreneur. Welcome to the neighborhood. Entrepreneurship is it's a journey, and it is personal development on steroids. It's going to test you every step of the way. However, it gives you the opportunity to do some things that maybe you really want to do. And Sherilyn, good morning to you too. So good to be here. My first entrepreneurial endeavor was at 11 years old, believe it or not. And so I was doing magic shows for kids' birthday parties, and made 50. Now this is going back a ways, 1972. So 1972, I was making $50 for a half hour magic show that I would do, and everything. $50 for a half hour was pretty good in 1972. And all that. So that's, but here's the thing that came out of that. I didn't do it for years and years. I did it for a little bit of time. First off, y'all got to know, if you're going to start in an entrepreneurial endeavor, know your marketplace. Okay. My audience was kids. I was doing magic shows dressed as a clown. Kids are scared of clowns. So my whole audience was crying. It's like, oh my God. So, all right, let me answer some questions. I see some coming in. I hope I'm pronouncing this. Heinz says, I just signed my new contract, not sure how to manage a salary for myself. That's a little more involved question, because the question, so here's the question. I just got into entrepreneurship. I've got a new contract. How do I compensate myself? So part of the answer to that question is going to be dependent on the, clowns are scary. I don't know what I was thinking. Part of the answer to that question is going to be dependent upon your structure. If you are a sole proprietorship, which is the basic structure for a starting entrepreneur, there's no salary. There's a distribution or a draw that you take. If you're an LLC, there's no salary, because it's, again, a distribution or draw you take. But if you're a corporation, then you would pay yourself a salary. So you've got two questions here. One is, I think there's this question of, do you have the capacity? In other words, the cash flow to draw the salary. I think you need to make your compensation somewhat of a priority, because it is the vehicle that's going to fund your financial future. In fact, I talked about this in a mini course that I did with my dear friend Chris Harder, that is being released, called Entrepreneurial Cash Flow. And I think that you need to look at it through those eyes. Here's the thing. When we are looking and we say, how much do I take? Let's just talk about, do I have a cash flow plan for the business? You should have a cash flow plan for the business. You should have a cash flow plan for your personal life, what we call a cash resource plan. Because your business, especially at the fledgling stage, is going to need probably a lot more cash to get it off the ground, because you're going to go through stages. The first is, I got to get a foothold. in the marketplace. I got to get people to know me, and I got to get some stability in it. The second is I got to get traction. Okay. Now I got to get movement and consistency. This third is then I get scale. Okay. Now I get the growth. The tendencies, I want to go from start to growth. You can't. You can't. And so I'm gonna invite you to look at it and say, what are the things that you need right now? And make sure you have a cash flow plan that is strategic. You have one contract in hand right now, but that contract is finite. It's going to stop. It's going to go away. There's some income there. What are you going to do after that contract? What's the plan to keep a consistent cash flow? Because a business isn't a contract. A business is an ongoing revenue stream that actually turns into profits and cash flow. Hopefully I helped there with that. Let me go. I've got a couple of other questions. We'll keep going. I love this. Caroline, I'm here to learn. I'm here to help any way I can. So, all right, here's the deal. Let's go. I'm going back up. Natalia, she asked me, how many hours should couples spend weekly to work on this, to work on their finances? So I'm going to change this a little bit if you're cool with it. I don't want you working on anything because work just doesn't sound like it's fun. All right. So I want you to enjoy this time. There's a story I tell in the book of a friend, Karina Akapura. She wrote me a note because the conversation she started to have with her husband, they had a great marriage. They had kids and a great marriage. But she said she found herself in a position where they were both on the sidelines rooting each other on. And after starting to have conversations about their financial vision, their life's vision, and what they want, they said, we decided to make sure that we're on the field rooting each other on from the field. And after 20 years of marriage, they decided to book a second honeymoon. And now they're bringing their kids into the game. So I don't want it to be so stringent that you sit back and go, oh, we got to do that money date again. I want it to be fun. So what I would do with this is you're going to reattach to the vision. You're going to look at the plan. You're going to see where there's successes and where there's room for improvement. That's it. You're not going to do a lot, but what you're doing is checking the pulse on the patient. But more importantly, you're connecting with your significant other. You can do it over a dinner. You can do, and so what I would do, just like a date night, I would swap it out where one time your spouse does it and does the planning and all that stuff for the date night, and then on the next time you do it. And it doesn't need to be weekly. Okay. That's probably a little much, maybe once or twice a month. You're going to do a deeper dive at the end of the year because you want to plan the year ahead and that kind of thing. But I think that all told, you're maybe spending an hour, including dinner or lunch or coffee, having this conversation. If it's something more than that. Now, when you're first creating the plan and all that, it's deeper, it's longer and everything. But on an ongoing basis, if it's taking more than that, it's too much. It's too much. The idea is to have a touch point, a connection point, bring you guys together, focus on the vision and the aspiration. Where do we need to make some changes? Where can we celebrate the wins and move on? Okay. Great question. You've got some great questions, Natalia. What was your goal for your son's financial foundation by age 21? So here's what I wanted him to understand. And this let me tell you what I did with him. 10 years old, or so, I started to pay him a what I called a commission. And from that commission, he had to he had to break it down into four different categories. And so whoops, I'll just draw it out for you for those of you that are not on Instagram. There was four different categories. Let me do it so I can. So he would put money into four different categories. The first was giving. Okay. The second was savings. The third was investing. And the fourth was living. From the money that he got, he would pay for his school lunches. He would do some things. The issue wasn't for him to pay for his school lunches. The issue wasn't even for him to do all these things. The issue was for me to be able to instill in him a set of values around money that got him to see that it was a tool that allowed him options in his life and the ability to give and make a difference in others. That's what I was trying to do. And it opened up the conversations around, okay, if you're going to give, what's near and dear to your heart? And what's the percentage you want to give? Why do we want to save? Okay. What does it mean if all of a sudden your bike has a flat tire? Would I have paid for it? Yeah, I would have paid for it. But what kind of lesson it teaches him about, maybe I should keep some cash a little bit in savings just in case something happens. So I'm literally teaching him about emergency funds without teaching him about emergency funds. Okay. Investing. When I talked about investing, one of the things that he did because he had earned income is he could start a Roth IRA. Okay. And one of the things that I did later on is I said, hey, for every dollar you put into the Roth IRA, I will match it. Okay. So all of a sudden he got the flavor of matching. But this opened up a conversation of, well, how do I invest? What is investing and what's compound interest and what is growth and this and that. And then the living was, this would allow him he couldn't buy everything. So he had to figure out priorities. And so the purpose behind me doing this was not to make him an investing genius, but to have him have an appreciation for value, the appreciation for money, having values, and to also start to have conversations around it. He's 34 today. His wife's 30. She's going to be 31 in a few weeks. They've got 2 kids, 3 homes, a multi-million-dollar net worth. So evidently the brainwashing did okay for him. All right. But I think what we want to do with them is start having the conversation, because here's what's happening out there. They're not having the conversations with anyone that has the knowledge, the experience, and the expertise to guide them in a way that's going to make a difference for them. So where are they having these conversations? They're having these conversations on TikTok. They're having these conversations on Instagram. They're having these conversations with no one of any credibility. There's someone on TikTok, I watched him in an interview tell this person, say, the best thing you can do, don't go buy the Toyota Camry for $20,000. Go buy a $200,000 R8. You'll make money on it. The guy's an idiot. I'm sorry. You don't tell people to go buy a $200,000 depreciating asset. I have a strong opinion about it because you're putting people in jeopardy. And there's people out there putting stuff out that have no context, and we think that we should follow, and our kids are following them. And so what I wanted to do with him, and I didn't have the challenge of social media when he was growing up as much as we do today. The inputs and the influences that they get are huge. And so I think it's important for us to open up these conversations, have the conversations from a values and value standpoint to do it. The greatest gift we can give our children is the ability to be financially independent. The second greatest gift we can give them is for you to be financially independent. Because if you are and they are, neither one of you are showing up on each other's doorstep saying, I can't afford to live. Can I get on the couch? I think that's what we should be doing. Okay. All right. What activities, financial planning would you be working on with a 17-year-old? I love this. So here's the thing. If they're working, then I would have you do the same thing that I did with them, with Jeremy, and that is have them open up a Roth IRA. If they have, so here's a Roth IRA. If I'm assuming they're US based. So if they're working, they open up a Roth IRA. The magic and the power of the Roth IRA is that it grows tax-free. They cannot touch it until later in the year. I mean, later in their life, 59, retirement age. But the bottom line is this. You're teaching them to think long-term. You're putting something away that's going to grow tax-free. They'll never pay tax on it. And you're doing it at a time where their tax rate's probably the lowest it's ever going to be. Okay. They're living at home, probably. They don't need the money as much as they think they do. Put some of it away. We got Tom knows him. He was on a call with us. Henry, who he was 16 and a half years old when he joined one of my programs. 16 and a half years old. At 17, he got a job, and he asked me on one of the calls, he says, what should I do? I said, I want you to open up a Roth IRA. A handful of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, we're on another call, and he says to me, hey, I funded my Roth IRA, but I don't know how to invest it. Where do I invest it? I asked him how old he is. He says, I'm 18 now. I said, well, okay, how much did you fund it with? I'm thinking at 18 years old, he did it for $500 or $1,000. Nope. He says, I fully funded 2023 and I already funded 2024. I go, hold on a second. You're 18 years old and you put away $6,500 for 2023 and $7,000 for 2024. He says, yeah, well, I live at home. I don't have much in expenses. I'm like going, holy moly. Here's the deal. He put $13,500 away at 18 years old. I said, let me do the math. If we did nothing but put it in an S&P index fund, by the time you hit retirement age, that will multiply 107 times, 107. I said, you're already a millionaire. It's going to be 1.2, 1.3 million by the time we're through. And that's if you did nothing more. We're not going to stop here. We're going to keep going. The only thing we have to avoid is stupid. Okay. And here's an 18-year-old. This is why I think that, Natalia, with a 17-year-old, you should be having these conversations. Now, they're going to push back. I've got time. Yeah, but it makes it a whole lot easier if you start now. And because you have such a long runway, you don't need, the more time you have, the less money you need. The less time you have, the more money you need. The ability for them to build wealth right now, and forget wealth, their ability to have financial peace of mind right now with a little bit of money on a regular basis is huge. So I would start having that conversation. The second conversation I would have with them is around debt. They need to understand that debt is not their friend. Now, they can't do it anymore, but when I was on college campuses, you would sign up for a credit card. You got yourself a coffee mug and a t-shirt. I got a whole lot of credit cards. But the problem is when you start using them and all of a sudden the balances came due and you go, how do I pay them? It's time to teach them about financial stewardship, responsibility, the ability to navigate and make sure that they're responsible. Debt for lifestyle, because there's nothing that they are going to buy that needs to be on debt that is what I call productive debt. Productive debt will increase cash flows, increase your net worth. Ain't nothing a 17-year-old's going to use a credit card for that is productive debt. It is all destructive debt. They have no business with it. Do you want them to use it? If they pay the balance off to develop credit, okay, I get it. But that's why I would put a secured card on them. So there's a cash against it. And that's it. It's $200. It's $500. That's it. They have no business, because the only thing they're putting on credit cards or on payments at that age is lifestyle. That means that they can't afford it. Okay. I know that was kind of hard-nosed, but that's just me. Hopefully that helps. Living, working outside the box. I enjoy your videos on building assets like book speaking, consulting, some semi-passive, more active. But isn't there a way to integrate these so one asset helps to sell another? Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There is. If you look at my journey, so I have a friend of mine, Nido Kubain. He's the president of High Point University, and he talks about this idea, and we talked about it in my first book, Entrepreneur Solution, of intentional congruence. If we start to do things that are so far afield, it's like you're trying to run on two treadmills at the same time. It's really hard to do that. Okay? It's really hard to do that. So you want to have intentional congruence where you are building something that allows them to see that there's a path for them. For instance, they can come in off of my YouTube videos, my podcast, all the things. They can buy the book. From the book, they may, when we start to open it up, I have an Investing Simplified course, which is, and then, the Affluence Blueprint, and then some of my coaching programs and stuff. So they all lead in a direction. Now, I don't take on a ton of coaching clients. I have 3 to maybe 5 one-on-one clients a year, very selective. I drive everything through my lifestyle metric, because I don't, and then I do a group coaching where I try to keep it small, and I limit it. So the easiest access to me is book and courses and these kinds of things. And those that really want to get more access, then we've got a couple ways to do it. But all of them are down the same lane. They're not completely afield. Now, that's in the professional space. So my consulting, my coaching, my speaking, my workshopping, my writing, my videos, all of them are in the same space. So I'm able to do that. In the investing, now that's the earnings machine that I talk about in the book and my content. There is the money machine, which is what we're trying to build. The reason you need your money machine is to separate the efforts to earn from the earnings themselves. My ability to shut down my active businesses and survive financially, not even survive, thrive financially during the cancer and fight the cancer 100% was because I had a money machine, that it didn't require me to be on the treadmill to earn the money. I didn't have to be running the race. So that will be different because you're investing in leverageable, time-leveraged assets is what I would call it. Asset-based income, residual income, and portfolio income. It's the top 3 rungs of the 5 incomes that I talk about in the book. And so that will be a bit different, but the reason you can do it is it doesn't, and why they're leveraged, time leveraged, is that It doesn't take all your effort. I check my investments. Now I check them more regularly than others because of the work I do, but I check my portfolio once a month at least. I do it more regularly, but so you're going to check it once a month. It's not like you have to be on the treadmill every day. And so you want to keep those things in a way where there's this intentional congruence and they're feeding each other. Because there's going to be some people, a bunch of people that just want the book. There's going to be some people that say, hey, I want one-on-one time with you, or I want some group coaching and everything. I don't do one-off coaching. My time isn't for sale. Okay. If someone says, hey, can I get an hour of your time? No. My time is the most valuable commodity. I don't sell it. I sell solutions, and my solutions are provided in a certain way. That's what allows me to keep my lifestyle the way it is. Okay. And so that's how I would look at it. Thank you. All right. So, and pre-ordered a few months ago. Can't wait to dive in. It's coming next week. My middle school kids have been asking me how to invest. So I told them we will learn together. LOL. I love this middle school. This is so good. So I don't know if you were on earlier, but there's an appendix in there that talks about the conversation starters for our youth. Start there. And start having the conversations. Look at what I did with Jeremy and maybe duplicate something like that with them. Start the conversation. The fact that they want to start the conversation is huge. Don't make it about the money. Make it about the values. Make it about the lessons, and make it about the journey for them. Okay. It says, my 10-year-old wants to invest his birthday money. I love this. Chris, I know. I didn't learn this when I was in school. I had to do it on my own after that. Let's see. I've been watching your videos for 3 days. I know. So good. Thank you for being on the journey with me, man. There's more to come. I started building. Yeah. So here's the other thing I did with them. It allowed me by getting him Jeremy's own income stream. It also allowed me to do some things when he was ready to go to school around financial aid that I wouldn't have had the ability to do, to separate him from me on the form. So great questions, great things. Roaring Kitties GameStop position hit. Oh my gosh, y'all do not hear me out. Do not invest in meme stocks. GameStop is running up right now. Let's just look at where it's at. Okay, it's at $30. Okay. Why is it running up? It's because people are talking about it on Reddit. How can we? Evan Carmichael is in the house. How can we look as handsome as Mel? Watch what you wish for, my friend. And I have an identical twin, so there's two of us running around already. I don't know if we could, so. And I'm an old dude. Buddy, we got to catch up, my friend. Yeah, so GameStop is running up primarily because people are talking about it. And I hate to tell you this, there's going to be a lot of people that get hurt because you're going to run up. It is today's version. It's today's version of a pyramid scheme. Last person in gets hurt really badly. The only people that make money are the ones that got in early. Okay. Love the Batman chair. You've never seen me and Batman in the same room. It's suspicious. It really is. I needed a big chair. I wanted a chair that would go higher. And so the only chairs that would go higher, this has nothing to do with what I talk about, but yeah, is a gamer's chair. Now, I'm not a gamer, but all the gamers' chairs are these bright, colorful colors. And I go, just give me a black chair. And they said, well, we have a Dark Knight chair. I said, I'll take it. So yeah, so everyone, I've got my Batman chair right there. I guess it could be worse. It could be worse. Batman, and me not in the same room at the same time. Exactly, Taylor. Cool. Other questions? Anything else coming up? God, I forgot how much I miss this, having the conversations with y'all. Hey, y'all. So 1 week, a week from tomorrow, on Tuesday, June 11th, next week, my book comes out. Okay, it's available, but you can pre-order it today and get some gifts, some bonuses, and get your financial journey started. The reason I put the gifts and bonuses there is for this. I want you to buy the book, but buying the book, that might help me get on some bestseller list that really doesn't matter to me. Doesn't make a difference. That's not why I wrote the book. Buying the book will put a few dollars in Jeff Bezos' pocket. He doesn't need the money. Reading the book will soothe you. It'll give you hope. It'll give you a pathway, but it won't change your life. What I need to do, I need you to get to do the book. Do the book. When this book becomes part of your life will change. I promise you this. And so here's the deal. The gifts and the bonuses I created are to allow you to integrate it into your life faster and easier. And I don't want you to do it alone. So I created a brand new companion action guide workbook that goes along with it that you will get. I'm not charging for it right now. I also created a book club guide for all of you. So you don't have to do this alone. You get a chance to do this with your friends and create a book club. And if you have enough people in the book club, I will show up and I'll do a Q&A for you guys. You know? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the book club. So the idea is this: June 11th, next Tuesday, is when the book drops. That is not the finish line. That's the starting line. That's the starting line of a whole new financial trajectory for you and your family. We get to start the journey on that day, and we get to continue it the rest of our lives. Cool. Let's see. All right. Tiffany, I've got one more question here. Karina, I know, I'm looking forward to it. I want it in everyone's hands, but let's see. It says, new thoughts on the housing market update, thoughts on crowdfunding to help your business, how to do this properly. All right. So housing's going to be, depending on the geography, it's going to be a tough go. I have a calculator, and I did an episode on this. I don't know that everyone needs to own a house. I know that goes against the quote unquote American dream. But you got to be really clear. Remember I said vision defines the plan. The plan sets the strategy sets the tactics will determine the actions. What's your vision? Is owning a house part of the vision? It can be, it doesn't have to be. But when you look at it with interest rates at 7% and that, you should, and a house is a long-term decision. And I know, Tiffany, you and I have had this conversation. If you can't ensure that you're going to be there 7 years or more, I wouldn't be buying anything right now. I wouldn't be buying anything because the friction costs to get in and out of a house, time, sales costs, commissions, closing costs, all that stuff is way high. So I get it. There's people out there that say they flip it and all that stuff. I get it. That's not what you're doing here. You're not buying an investment property. You're buying something for a residence. I would really be critical about what's causing you to buy it. Why? Okay. And as far as crowdfunding to help your business, I don't have enough information to give you give you kind of guidance on it. I think you need to be mindful of when you start to crowdfund, angel funding, things like that, you're giving a piece of your business away. And just in general terms, if you don't need their money and you don't need their mind, you don't need their partnership. It's I have been involved as an expert witness in more than I can count partnerships that have gone bad where I had to testify as to the value. And so it's important for us to sit back in if we think that, hey, I'm just going to crowdfund or I'm going to get money as a loan or equity, and because it's easier, you need to think it through because you have now just got yourself into a marriage that if it doesn't perform, it's hard to get out of gracefully. So I would go back and say, why do I need crowdfunding? What specifically is it going to do? And what is the return on investment that I could give these people? And what am I willing to give? Because you start putting people into play and giving them pieces of equity, that's a challenge. You got to be really critical about what that is. Okay. All right. I see Karina says, we've been taught that our house will be our single biggest investment. Okay. I agree. It will be your single biggest investment. And it can be an investment in the terms of what I call investment. It's your single biggest cash outlay for sure. Housing. Is it an investment? An investment is something that's going to give you money, cash flow over time, and help you support your lifestyle. I don't consider this home that I'm in an investment unless I'm willing to liquidate it or rent it. It's a cash drain. It costs us every month. It's not an investment. That's not the definition of an investment. It's the largest cash outlay. And yes, have people been able to make it by buying their first house and then refinancing and building? Yes. But you're banking on this really steep appreciation curve to make that happen. And in the meantime, you have to carry the debt and everything. So we have to be really smart about it and not think, because you can be house rich and cash poor. It's what happened to a lot of people in 2008. They had a lot of house and a lot of house value, but they had no cash to pay bills. That's not an investment to me. And I talk about that in the book. What I want you to look at is investable assets, the things that will generate cash flow to pay for your lifestyle. But it is definitely probably your single biggest cash outlay, but it'll not give you a return on. Now, I'm taking out of it this conversation of, hey, we need a place to live. You're right. We need a place to live. So that is a qualitative factor that is supported by the finances. But you're not going to get rich by owning your residence. You're going to get rich by building a money machine. Okay. Karina says, I tell others the same about how they look at buying a house. I agree. So, and if you just run the numbers, what we tend to do, that was where I was just going, Jason. All right. But he says, people forget to factor in the repairs and maintenance of the home purchase too often. In my calculator, which when you buy the book, you'll get access to a resource page, which has it on there. In that calculator, you put estimates in for all the costs to carry the home. Because if I rent an apartment or a home, I will pay renter's insurance, but by and large, the repairs and all that stuff are taken care of. I'll pay utilities, that kind of thing. But if I own a home, like let's just talk about what happened to me, y'all. All right, let's talk about what happened to me. Memorial Day here. You think it's going to be a relaxing day. You're going to go out, you're going to grill, you're going to enjoy the sun because it's California. You're just going to relax. We come downstairs, and all of a sudden we look on the floor, and it's wet. And immediately, what do? We blame the puppy. the puppy piddled, we thought. And then she looks, my wife looks, she goes, oh no, there's water in the guest room, the bathroom, the living room. The whole downstairs was flooded. And the main line evidently backed up and flooded. So it never happens on a Monday through Friday. It happens on a holiday. So you got to pay the emergency dispatch fee for the emergency plumber. They come out 24/7. So the plumber comes out, he puts the snake in, and he figures it out. And they literally have to go in. In fact, that's what they're here doing. Take out the tile from the decking one piece at a time so they don't break it all up. They got to cut it. They got to sleeve it. This thing is expensive. If I was a renter, I'd call the landlord and say, fix it. I'm the owner. Ain't no one to call. I got to fix it. We don't think about that. Owning a home has a cost to it. So we just got to be mindful of that and look at it through the eyes of total cost and what we can do. And everything. So this is the thing. Yeah, it can, if we're not careful, it can hit us. Cool. All right. No wonder I'm plugging the book hard. Yeah, the problem is that everyone buys the book and all of it's going to Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So it is what it is. We get it dialed in. So cool. All right, y'all. I hope that you found this fun. I hope you found it valuable. I want to do more of it. We'll keep doing it. Watch for the announcements. If you're not on my list, get on my list. So, because I send a reminder out with the links and all that stuff, and you can join me in Zoom and all that stuff. All right. In the meantime, you all have an amazing, amazing day today, and know that we're just starting, and we're just starting this conversation. And I can't wait to be on this journey and to have you side by side with me walking this path and shining the light for everyone to find that path to financial freedom. All right, y'all. You guys have a blessed day. If you need anything, reach out. Talk soon.